Hi guys, and welcome to Dean's Den. Today what I want to talk about is that chemical formula that I showed you guys in the beginning. Now what that actually is, it's the formula for rust. Now what we're going to talk about here is actually what brake dust is and fallout, where it comes from, how it gets there. How it's getting on there is from moisture. If there's condensation on the car or it's wet from wet conditions outside, what's going to happen is any iron particles that are in the air are going to get trapped in the water droplets and make their way onto the vehicle. Now, when you're driving the car in wet conditions, two things are going to happen. Number one, any dust particles that are in the air on the highway, given off of other vehicles that are on the road, or your own vehicle, that is going to get into the water droplets, and those water droplets are going to slide down your vehicle, and they're going to pool in areas underneath the doors, in the trunk lip, on the back end of the car. All right. That's why you don't find a lot of fallout or brake dust on the front of the vehicle. It's because it's in a water droplet. And what happens is that water droplet, because of gravity, friction, and everything else that's going on when you're driving the car, it pulls that water back down the car. Now it's going to sit all around the body lines, anywhere where water is going to collect, you're going to find that fallout. When they first started with the braking system, it used to be a drum brake. Now what that is a fully contained brake system. So you've got a backing plate, and then you've got your drum that's all covered up in the front. It's like a cap. Then you've got a hubcap on there and everything else. Now this is back in the 60s, and then they started progressing and going into rotors and open wheels. Now the reason they did that, it's actually a much better braking system. The rotors cool off a lot faster than drum brakes, okay, because they're exposed to the air. But the problem with that is when that caliper compresses those pads onto the rotor, metal dust is going to be formed. And that metal dust, if you're driving in wet conditions, you're going to get a heavy accumulation of fallout on that vehicle. If you have an older vehicle, let's say a classic car like a 60s Mustang, and it's garage stored, and you only take it out for Sunday drives, or you take it out to car shows and stuff like that, and the conditions are very dry, you're going to have almost no buildup whatsoever on that car. Drum is a very poor system. It doesn't put a lot of pressure on the drum walls, and when you've got shoes inside of a drum wall and they're pushing out, you're not getting the same amount of pressure as you do when you're clamping down on something. When the caliper clamps the pads onto the rotor, that pressure there is a lot more than the pressure going out towards the drum. Anyways, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. It's a little bit of a science lesson here, a little bit of a history lesson with automotive, but I thought you would find it interesting because there's a lot of misconceptions about what this actually is on the car. And honestly, 90% of the vehicles that are coming to you that have fallout on them, it's not really fallout, it's actually brake dust. So thank you again for watching.